Hey everybody, welcome back to video 21 of the CKA series. This video is on how Kubernetes exposes applications using ClusterIP, NodePort, and load balancers. Today, I want you to reset everything you think you know. Forget Kubernetes, forget services, forget ClusterIP, NodePort, and forget load balancers. Forget that any of these even exists. Because today, we are going to look at Kubernetes from a completely different angle. And by the end of this video, you will not only understand every Kubernetes service clearly, but you will also start spotting design problems instantly, and even picture how to redesign traffic flow the right way. And from this point on, Kubernetes services won't feel like abstract concepts anymore. They will feel more like basic office operations. Now imagine this. You work at a massive company called ABC.ai. And yes, this company makes some very questionable infrastructure decisions. ABC.ai operates from a massive office complex. The office has three huge buildings, Building A, Building B, and Building C. These buildings together function as one giant office. Employees move freely, talk freely, work freely. If an employee can't find a seat in Building A, they can sit in Building B or C on any empty seat and will still be able to work for their respective departments. Most employees don't even know which building they are currently inside. For them, ABC.ai is simply one giant office. These buildings are your Kubernetes nodes. Together, they form your Kubernetes cluster. And these employees, they are your pods. Inside these buildings exist multiple departments. The HR department, finance department, engineering department, cleaning staff department, applications team, and each department has a door, a department name, a unit number. For example, HR department is unit 1, finance department is in unit 2, engineering team is in unit 3, cleaning staff in unit 4, and application team in unit 5. And outside these buildings, but still inside the company's premises, exists an administration office, a security office, and a management office. These teams support operations, but don't work inside the buildings themselves. All these departments are essential for the company to run. They don't operate in isolation. They constantly coordinate, communicate, and collaborate with each other to keep ABC.ai functioning smoothly. Each team focuses on its own responsibilities, but together they ensure the entire organization stays up and running like a well-oiled system. Now let's say finance department want to update an employee's salary and designation in the HR records because he got promoted. So who do they contact? They go to the HR department, obviously, because that's where they will find all HR people in one place. They don't go around the office looking for people who work for the HR department, right? Do they know which HR employee will answer in the HR department when they knock on its door? No. Do they care? Also no. Finance simply walks to Unit 1, the HR department, and knocks. Someone answers. Finance provides them with the employee's information and the HR department updates it. Work continues. The important part, finance team doesn't ask, I need employee John from the HR, or I need Sarah from the HR. They simply say, I need HR. That's it. So the HR department operates behind Unit 1. The entrance to the Unit 1 is your ClusterIP service. The words HR department written outside the door, that's your service name. The employees working behind the doors, those are your pods, Sarah, John, and many more. Now you may ask, how does finance department even know when someone from the HR department is available? Simple, they don't. Finance simply knows if I need HR, I knock on Unit 1. Employees constantly move. Some HR employees work from Building A, others sit in Building B. Some may be attending meetings, some may be on leave. People constantly move, but company policy says there must always be enough HR employees available all the time. Sometimes one employee, sometimes 5 employees, depending on the workload. So when finance knocks the HR door, someone from the HR answers. The finance doesn't care who actually answered the request. All they need to know is HR sits in Unit 1. And that's exactly how Kubernetes services behave. Pods are constantly changing. They get replaced, deleted, recreated, and rescheduled. But the service stays stable. It doesn't move. It doesn't change identity. It's always the same entry point into the department. Because what really matters is this. Requests are getting fulfilled, not which specific pod handled them. The real problem only shows up when requests stop being answered at all. Now imagine, finance knocks, nobody answers. That's bad. That means something is broken. Now administrator's office or security office, together the platform team springs into action. When something breaks, the platform team steps in to investigate and fix it. But the question is, the administrators team and the security team, they both sit outside the clustered buildings. They don't sit inside it. So how do they even get inside the building to access the departments and people working in them? Simple. They use staff-only backdoors, special access paths reserved only for administrators and security personnel. Normal employees can't go through these doors. Only authorized personnel can. Those who are administrators or security personnel. In Kubernetes terms, this is your SSH RDP access to the Kubernetes nodes. It's direct entry into the system, into the Kubernetes cluster nodes. They walk in, inspect what's wrong, fix the issue, and step back out, restoring everything to normal. HR now is responding again to the queries from various departments. Perfect. This means pod-to-pod communication through the ClusterIP service is working again. Now imagine the management office needs to contact finance. They are not the administrator or security personnel. They want the finance team to update the salary of the employee who just got promoted, and finance needs to update their salary records. Sounds simple, but there's one problem. Even this management office doesn't sit inside any of the buildings that are in the cluster. They exist outside the buildings themselves. Sure, they are still inside the overall company premises, but they are not actually inside the buildings A, B, or C. In Kubernetes terms, they exist within the same overall office network, but outside the Kubernetes cluster itself. So now what happens? Well, ABC.ai has a very interesting solution to this problem. Instead of allowing outsiders to freely access the buildings, they create dedicated side entrances for departments that need communications from outside the buildings. In other words, if a department needs to be accessed from outside the Kubernetes cluster, ABC.ai creates a dedicated entry point for that specific unit, allowing external traffic to reach it directly. Traffic entering through that dedicated side entrance is restricted to the specific unit it was designed for. It cannot go anywhere else in the building. So finance has a dedicated side entrance number 30080. HR side entrance number 30081. Application side entrance number 30082, and so on. Therefore, to contact finance, management now simply walks to the side entrance number 30080. That entrance leads them to finance. The finance receives the request and updates the employee's salary records. But maybe the promotion also means something else changed. Perhaps the employee's designation, department information, or internal records also need some updating. So what does finance do? Finance simply contacts the HR internally. They walk up to the HR department door, Unit 1, and knock again, pass the information along, and HR updates the records as well. Notice what just happened. Management reached finance through the external entrance, but finance communicated the HR using the normal internal office pathways we discussed earlier. This is exactly like finance using the cluster IP services to talk internally inside the cluster. And because everyone can still communicate properly, everything works. Since the buildings are a cluster that is function as one single large building, an important thing to pay attention to here is every building creates that same side entrances. Building A 30080, Building B 30080, and Building C 30080. Because that's how those three buildings can function as one in the cluster. They all must have identical properties. Their capacities might be different, but all the other aspects must match, which enables employees to work from any building without any difficulty. All requests received on side entrance 30080 on any building come to the finance department. So management can approach any building, use entrance 30080, internal routing handles the rest. These side entrances are the NodePorts in Kubernetes. I'm sure most of you may already have guessed the problem with this approach. This solution works when you have a very small environment. It's manageable. When you only have a few departments, you only need a few entrances, no big deal. But now imagine the company grows. Suddenly you have 200 departments, and out of those, 100 departments require access from outside the building. Now management has a problem. Nobody can remember which entrance leads to where anymore. So they create a giant spreadsheet. Entrance 30080, finance. Entrance 30081 leads to HR. Entrance 30082 is the engineering team. Entrance 30083 is the applications team. And the spreadsheet keeps growing. More departments, more entrances, more mappings, more complexity. Eventually, the people designing this office start asking, there has to be a better solution to manage these external accesses. And this is where you begin to see the problem with NodePorts. Do you really want management memorizing hundreds of entrance numbers just to figure out which door leads to which department? Because if this office keeps growing, this approach starts becoming a nightmare very quickly. And that is the fundamental problem with NodePorts. And this is not all. Now imagine something changes. The application team launches a brand new website that customers need to access from anywhere on the internet. And at the same time, HR wants candidates applying for jobs to upload resumes directly through their recruitment portal. Suddenly, the requirements have changed. It's no longer just employees inside the company premises trying to access the departments. Now people completely outside the company's boundaries needs to access too. And that creates a new pain point. How do you expose the departments that need internet access without exposing anything else? How do you make those services reachable while still protecting them from random internet traffic, attackers, bots, and bad actors? So, the designers at abc.ai came up with another mind-blowing, out-of-the-box, kidney-failing solution. They decide any department that requires internet access will not only get its own dedicated side entrance inside the buildings, it will also get its own gate at the outer perimeter of the company premises. Yes, these perimeter gates are connected to the specific side entrances. That means application team's side entrance 30080 connects to gate A on the company's perimeter. HR portal side entrance number 30082 is connected to gate B on the company's perimeter. Finance side entrance, no gate because it doesn't need access to the internet. Engineering team's side entrance, no gate again because they don't need to be exposed on the internet. Each gate exposes only the departments mapped to it, nothing else. So now the internet users enter through the perimeter gate. The gate forwards them to the department's side entrance. And only that department becomes reachable to the outside world. Problem solved, or at least solved for now. One gate, one department, one mapping. These gates are load balancers. But here's the catch. Building gates facing the internet are not free. The city must create roads to those gates connecting them to the other city roads. Update routing of the postal systems so that the packets addressed to those gates can be delivered to them. The city charges abc.ai for all these services. The city is your cloud provider. Every gate gets the infrastructure, gets a public IP, gets routing, and gets built. Each gate or each load balancer forwards traffic to its connected NodePort or the side entrance in the building. NodePorts bring the traffic inside the cluster to the departments it's servicing. And the departments, they finally start receiving the requests from the internet. Problem solved. Simple and straightforward. And even the company doesn't mind paying extra for a few departments' internet access. Now imagine this at scale. 500 departments, 500 internet-facing applications, 500 load balancers, and 500 separate bills. And suddenly, the simple solution doesn't feel like so simple anymore. More gates means more cost, more configuration, and more maintenance, more security around them, more things that can break. And more importantly, it stops being sustainable. So the real question becomes, do we really need 500 entry gates just to control internet access to 500 departments? Or is there a smarter way? What if instead of building more gates, we built one intelligent entry point, one single gate for the entire office complex, and behind it, a smart traffic controller that knows exactly where every request should go? That's Ingress. And in the next video, we cover it. And just like that, you have now seen how Kubernetes services really work. From internal communications with cluster IP to external access using NodePorts, all the way up to the production grade exposure with load balancers. But here's the thing, we have only seen the old way of thinking about the traffic flow because Kubernetes didn't stop evolving here. In the next video, we are going to take this entire office complex and upgrade it again. We will bring Ingress to life and finally see how a single intelligent entry point can replace all those messy individual gates. And right after that, we go even further. We will explore Gateway API, the modern, more powerful evolution of Ingress that's quietly becoming the new standard. And then, no more theory. We jump straight into hands-on labs and you will actually build, break, and fix these systems yourself. So, if at any given point you thought, wait, why do we need so many layers just to reach one app? Perfect. That means you are now thinking like an engineer. Because trust me, Kubernetes doesn't get simpler from here, it gets smarter. If this video helped things finally click, hit like and subscribe and stay tuned because next time we turn that confusing Office Gate system into something that actually makes sense. And maybe, just maybe, we make Kubernetes a little less scary and a lot more fun. Have a blessed day, ladies and gentlemen.